Hello fellow gamers and welcome back to Timberborn. On the last episode we started kind of working on figuring out how to get access to these underground ruins so we can build mines. One thing is we are starting to fall short on scrap metal, so it's pretty important that we kind of get this area kind of clean and kind of out of the way of the bad tide. So kind of showing you through here is basically this is now going to be a channel that's going to run off to the edge of the map here. That is going to be kind of working away. We high prioritized everything so that we can kind of get a move on with that. These trees are being kind of cleared little by little, so it's just a case of remembering to pop in the additional dynamite and making sure we can get all of them. So that is all kind of on the way getting done there. Also, we are making some great progress with kind of bringing this down so that we can expand the kind of wood farm by building more oak trees on that one. And then also last episode we did manage to kind of finish this channel here so that during kind of normal and bad tides, all of the kind of the bad water kind of runs off pretty smoothly on this. We have made a little bit of progress on this bad water rig. You can see here we've kind of full up with metal blocks, as well as kind of almost there with the treated planks. A little bit short on gears, which we have kind of been slowly working on, but given that we are kind of low on kind of wood right now, we actually have 0. It has been a bit of a challenge just to kind of make sure we kind of maintain that. These trees are starting to grow, which is good. So we are kind of getting a little bit by a little bit, but we have cleared out this pretty much except for these newborns that kind of grew. And then as well, we have kind of cleared out this entire area of wood. So today's episode, we're going to kind of continue with the kind of progress in kind of this, really kind of focus on kind of building out all of this area. We do have 80 explosives, so we do have, I think we should have enough just to kind of cover that entire area. We'll see there, and then also hopefully we can get all of this done. I think what I would like to do is kind of just take it down just one more level, just so it's kind of on this kind of section here. So we just need one more dynamite all the way around there. And then what I can do is I'll build out kind of this little path and kind of like take it from there. What I also think I might do is I might dynamite this area here and just build a little channel that goes underneath the actual pathway. The reason why I want to kind of do that is just because as long as we can get this kind of water flowing all the way over here, we can make sure that this area is going to have all greenery, so that we can kind of continue with kind of like these kind of forests and stuff. When the bad tide does come, it is kind of going to pollute this area here. I want to make sure that we have a kind of like enough kind of fresh water kind of in this area so we don't fall into the problem where we lose out on the kind of trees and have to regrow and then fall short again. Okay, so yeah, so that's pretty much the game plan for this episode. We are in the kind of middle of a drought. It is a relatively quick one, just with 6 days. One of the shorter ones we've had since the beginning. Given that it is cycle 23, it's a nice bit of fresh air, just being able to get a short one like that. I did turn off these two. We do have plenty of water, especially with the robots kind of in this one kind of working 24/7. It does mean that we do get an extra bit of water and that we aren't kind of really kind of suffering in the kind of like the depletion of this water. Okay, so let's have a look elsewhere, kind of see where we are. We have kind of built out pretty much all of this just to clear this little bit here, just so we can kind of just make this a little bit larger on on the depth of that, just kind of clear it all out, just add more water, which gives us kind of a little bit more greenery. I have actually started kind of making progress on this. I did get this first little section here that was kind of across there, so we're now onto this second section. What I'd like to do is get this low enough and then probably build another channel out through the middle, and then kind of path over that. And again, I think this is going to be another forestry. I just want to have as much kind of wood as possible, just making sure that we are kind of never in kind of a shortfall when we do some bigger projects. Main project being the kind of the Earth Recultivator, which we now have 12% done. We are kind of pretty short on gears, but that needs planks need wood, so you can see kind of like a lot of the kind of the knock-on kind of effect with that. The good thing is though, metal blocks, we are almost at the 600 mark, so we're almost a third of the way through, but we do have another 464 metal blocks kind of in storage, which is awesome. A lot of that is to do with the automation of putting robots in the smelters and the fact that we have so many smelters as well. So today's focus again, let's get the kind of the trees kind of situated so that we are kind of producing a lot more logs by bringing this down. Things are kind of progressing very nicely. I think maybe this episode we can hopefully get this kind of a lot done. We do have 400 planks, so we're kind of almost halfway there with the treated plank situation. So like, yeah, again, all we can do now is just kind of wait, get these trees kind of like, they are kind of starting to grow now. Hopefully we can get a good surplus so that we can make sure like all of these planks are getting kind of created. As you can see here, we got only 13, which is not ideal. I would like a little bit more, but you know, we can kind of hope that these guys kind of keep on working away. We have actually got ourselves up to kind of 83 bots, which is awesome. I was very surprised. I think we were kind of hovering at about the 65-70 mark in the last episode, with a few of these kind of changes in terms of just making these all kind of automated with the robots, so they're doing it 24/7, has really kind of increased the kind of the top amount that we can have. I'll just scroll down here just for you guys to have a little look, like a bit further down here. So you can see here we're going to lose 3, 4. We're going to lose 4 right here. Some of these on the 4-5%, but you can see just down at the bottom here, all of these guys in the 90s and stuff. These are all the new ones that we created. So it's looking like we will be fluctuating around the 80 mark. We have managed to get the biofuel kind of increased as well. Like I was saying last episode, we kind of got various few little kind of places. Not that one, but it was this one. Yeah, we have biofuel kind of spread around, just because, you know, a lot of the kind of the bots, they are kind of running out, and when they run out, it takes ages for them to get back to the closest kind of biofuel kind of tank. Okay, so what I would like to do is, I'm curious why this is slow. Right, so yeah, so the reason why it is slow is, again, last episode we kind of came across this problem is these bad water pumps, they do kind of stop working when the kind of drought is happening. So the 4 days it has kind of run out, and because of that we are kind of basically waiting on basically the list to go, which takes gears take planks need wood, you know, and then also they all need power as well. Given that we are in the drought, we are heavily underpowered. You can see here we're only operating at about 10%, a little over now. So because of that, it is kind of a little bit on the slow side. These just really come to a screeching halt, you know. And right now, you know, we have just lost 7. It looks like. Yeah, it looks like we lost 7 bots, so no one's actually creating anything right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wind on a little bit more time, get us to the end of the drought, and then we can kind of pick up where we left off and see where we can get to in today's episode. And once we've got over that drought, we are back and we are almost there with the dynamite on kind of clearing this area. Obviously the extract was a bit of an issue. We were kind of getting some bad water again now, so we can kind of crack on and kind of get that. I did prioritize these 2 haulers, so they're getting used pretty much instantaneously. The robots are kind of struggling to kind of keep up with that demand, but they are kind of doing it. You can see here we have so many beavers just kind of running away, kind of getting that all sorted, and we, you know, little bit by little bit, we are kind of getting this extract done. You can see as soon as the things get dropped there, they get kind of used up. So we do have a little bit of bad water. We are kind of running short on logs now. This has been an ongoing issue, but kind of as soon as we get the kind of the logs, the bad water gets filled up, the extract gets created, and then we're good with that. We are kind of building a few of these, which, you know, ideally I would like to get this one done first, but this is also still a priority here. For some reason, that one that I just added like kind of last isn't getting done. Oh, that's why. It's because it's too far to reach the district, so we need to kind of get these in here, and then once we get kind of these last few bricks in, we can get them. I'm kind of curious why we could get these ones in but not that one. That's interesting. I wonder if this was like log. I think that's what it is. I think they've managed to get up to here, and I think this path up to here was the last bit that they could do. Interesting. Right, where are we with everything else? Okay, so we, again, good on water, good on food. You can see here we are starting to get some kind of maple pastries in there. We are getting some chestnuts. Kind of an increase in these kind of few has kind of increased it quite somewhat. Let's have a look here to see how our bots are doing, to see if we got any kind of additional there. Okay, so we have a couple of ones, mostly zeros though. We've got 1, 2 there. Yeah, these are all kind of looking at zeros and ones. Not ideal. How are we looking at this? So again, now that we have enough maple syrup and that's all maxed out, we're actually running low on the extract. Okay, so that's the kind of hold up on that one. How are we doing with the printing press for the punch cards? So we are low on paper. Okay, how are we looking on paper here? Again, it's all kind of down to kind of the logs. The logs are kind of is what it's kind of stopping us from progression any further. So kind of expanding this is kind of becoming more and more of a priority. We have actually kind of emptied out all the bad water here now. We could look to kind of build the mine, which is in metal, I believe. Yep, that takes 4,000 kind of, so we might as well unlock that. It does take quite a bit of resources though. And let's have a look here. In order to get 2 scrap, we need 1 treated plank and 1 gear. Okay, so that's going to be counterintuitive to kind of getting our recultivator built out. You can see here it's already onto the kind of the next stage. We're past the kind of the quarter way mark there. You can see it's just slowly but surely. We have over halfway of the metal blocks. I mean, pretty much done with metal blocks. We have 400 extra now, which is real good. So we're pretty much close to doing that. Treated planks, they're at about 1,100 if we can get all the treated planks in there. And then gears is slowly but surely kind of starting to kind of creep up now as well. So that's kind of coming on very nicely. You can see there the kind of the initial shafts kind of there. Awesome, good to see that. Right, we've got these in now, so we can kind of detonate this and kind of build the start of this little funnel. Now we do need these here. These all need to be 3s. Fingers crossed, which, you know, we know how kind of my luck has been with the bad water, that we don't get one for a little bit, so we can kind of look to make sure that we do kind of run off. I mean, these are already sitting there. But yeah, as I was saying, my luck with bad water, we'll probably get one in a few days, and this won't be finished, so it'll kind of create a lot of problems. It would actually kind of devastate quite a lot of the area. So at the very least, do we look to kind of maybe just run maybe we run like kind of at least 2, so we have a little bit of a runoff, and kind of like maybe slightly lower the priority here, just so that we're kind of focusing on one strip. And then it just means we can kind of get in there and get everything kind of handled. And then worst comes to worst, you know, we get a little less kind of runoff. Also, these are kind of not needed, I don't think. Yeah, that should be fine like that. It'll just kind of run off down there and then hit the corner. Just in case. I mean, a lot of it just all falls in here and it doesn't even reach that, but I just wanted to make sure with that one. Cool. Alright, so just waiting on these 3. Just waiting on some extract. I'm just gonna say, like, is it worth building another one? But we are waiting on logs. That's pretty much what we're waiting on. So yeah, let's get... What can we do? What can we do? Put this on low priority. I also switched out the second one. I mean, it takes so many gears and so many kind of like other materials. This one takes a little bit less, you know, instead of 200 treated planks, it only needs 100 planks. Instead of 400 gears, it needs 200 gears. Instead of, you know, 150 metal blocks, it only needs 100. And that just closes it off. I think if we have a look at it here, where is the... There it is. Okay, so that makes 40 every hour. And currently what we have is we have the bad water is making, what, 3 every hour? So that's a massive, massive increase. So I think only having 1 should be plenty. That's why I've just kind of replaced this with the actual dome, so we can just close off that bad water tide there. Cool. All right, so let's wind on a little bit of time. Let's get this all finished up. Let's get this all kind of planted so we can demolish and get the next layer in. And then, yeah, we'll come back to that and kind of have a look, see what that's going to be after we've got that all done. And one more cycle later, we have managed to clear this first kind of larger section. We've almost got the last of the dynamite in to get rid of the next layer. What I have done is I've kind of made this into a little bit of a channel by using the kind of larger explosive that'll run off over to here and just kind of like stay in this little section. What that'll do is just really kind of hydrate this entire area once we get down low enough. Also managed to get all of the dynamite in here so that we've got a nice little channel here, and then also I've put down a sluice. The sluice is going to close when the kind of has the fresh water, but then kind of open up. That just means we can just kind of remove all of this and then get further in with the kind of hydration. Just kind of make sure that all of this area is green. You can see here, as soon as it kind of goes up a level, it kind of starts going kind of green as opposed to the barren. So like kind of once we get good with that, it is kind of it is weird that it does kind of do that a little bit as it's kind of running through here, filling up this section, but it's just very temporary. It just kind of floods just very slightly. So what I wanted to do is, that's why I kind of built this out so far, so that when kind of droughts end, it'll kind of just run into here and kind of fill this area up, and hopefully that won't spill out too much kind of on this side. So it'll just kind of run through this sluice here, fill up this section, rehydrate everything, and then yeah, we are good to go with that. All we're waiting on now is just kind of, we did run out of some dynamite. We had like, I think we had in the reach of like 100 extra, but these guys are kind of working away very slowly, mainly because these guys stopped working during the drought. I was kind of thinking, like, do I kind of set this off? But 300 gears is quite a lot. But also I need to kind of get this created, just so we can kind of have path to this and have them, because if we do this at the current rate, they'll just kind of get contaminated, and then we'll have to use antidotes. And while we've got 340, you know, it is going to take a little bit of time to get that. So yeah, just want to make sure that we are kind of using kind of gears like is best as we can. You can see here, oops, I can't quite get to it. You can see here now, in terms of what we have, is we have over 400 gears kind of there. We're getting very close to getting done with the metal blocks. Treated planks is slowly but surely kind of getting up there, but we have run out. That's mainly due to the fact that, again, the kind of log situation is a little bit dire, but we can kind of work on things there. One thing that I did want to do just to kind of really increase our kind of gear kind of production, I have kind of started kind of pathing around. We did kind of create another lumber mill here, but what I wanted to do is kind of just, you know, add in just a few more kind of gear workshops here, maybe a few here, and then we'll also put in just like a little bit of lag there for some reason. Okay, yeah, so just pop in a few in there. We don't need this, don't need this. Okay, so just adds in a little few more, kind of just making sure that we are kind of making gears as quickly as we can. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. Let's kind of get this detonated. See how many. It's so satisfying when you have such a large area kind of. Oops, did kind of forget one accidentally. I'm glad that there wasn't a beaver running towards that, or we could have been blowing up some beavers by mistake. And then I just want to path up here for now, just to make sure we can get all of these in as well. Okay, so that's looking very nice. You can see it is starting to get green. Once we get all of these in here, that should kind of cover that area. And I think once we kind of, let's just kind of just reduce that just to see what happens when we kind of, so it goes up to about there. So I think, yeah, I think one more level should do it. Let's just kind of see what happens when we do this. That'll just kind of create a nice little section there. I do think we should go down one more level, so it's kind of, it's the same level as all of these. Maybe not here, maybe we can just keep the pathway like that, but I definitely think it'll look better if we have. Yeah, let's do that. Now the question is how far does this forest? The forester does go up there. Now I wonder if we break down one more level, how that's going to look. So we'll just do all of this here, all of this, all of this. I think we can also go down maybe 2 here, like so. Yeah, I think that'll look good. And then we'll do another one here. And let's change that to a 2. Cool. All right, so that's kind of on its way, kind of working down one more level. These guys are all kind of getting them planted in, so that's real good. Might as well detonate this section here just to kind of see where we are with the water levels. See, that just isn't getting kind of far enough in. It'll kind of kill off the trees, I think, straight away. You know, it is only 1 level high. We need to go up 2. It's just not going to kind of hold for too long. Actually, thinking about it, I should have just... that was a mistake. Oh, but you can get to that one, but not the other ones. Okay, so let's detonate these. And then we can get those last couple in there as well. We can look to plant all the way around here now. So let's do that. Let's get some trees in. A few more oaks. And we can make a little bit more space here. The more trees that we can plant, the more kind of we should be good. And then these guys are just kind of quickly building them. There we go. Detonate that. Oops. Planting the last couple of trees. And then boom. A few more in there. And then I always like to get checking in on this. Now we only need 33 metal blocks. We do have 370 in the in storage. But you see, treated planks 700. That is a lot. Now we seem to have quite a surplus of planks, so it should be relatively quick to get the treated planks done. Now where did we put this? Okay, so it needs pine resin, which we have very little of. Yeah, so we seem to have run out of pine resin. We only have a few left in storage. We have 2 plus the 3 that's in the wood workshop. Now it's surprising for how much treated planks we've actually needed. This little section here, which was only what, 20 or so, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so we had 24 pine trees, has managed to kind of keep us going with treated planks for this long, which is wild to me. You know, the fact that we have over, almost 1,400 treated planks in this one, plus all of the other kind of buildings that have needed treated planks. I think pretty much most of these advanced ones needed. So the fact that we've managed to get that just off one tapper shack in 20 something pine trees is just so wild that we managed to get that done. Alright, so where are we with everything else? We are starting to run low on scrap, which again isn't too bad because we pretty much have all the metal blocks that we need. And what else? Metal blocks, all done with that. Waiting on treated planks. 300 gears if we wanted to do that. Another 1,500 gears for this. So it's taken quite a lot now. Now these only need logs and planks. So I'm thinking that we probably should kind of prioritize these as well, just so we can get builders kind of on the go, making sure that we are creating all of these. There we go. And then also need to just might as well get that detailer in. So hopefully we can get that done. These paper mills, again, we need planks for that, so we're good on planks. We also need gears as well. Okay. So we'll just prioritize that. I mean, the fact that we're almost at 50% on this recultivator already, and I think we started off the episode at 6, so we've managed to really kind of get kind of a lot of progress done in kind of making sure we can get as many as possible. Okay, let's just prioritize these because it's going to take quite a long time for us to kind of make the once we get the trees planted, it does take a considerable amount of time just to make sure we get kind of those logs. And I'm wondering how much, they have plenty coverage, so they can cover all of this area here. Not really too bothered about kind of breaking down this does mean that I would have to build up stairwells and kind of getting 2, 4, so we'd need like at least 2 lots of dynamite on this section as well. But I think this extra should be plenty in order to get our kind of log situation sorted. Okay. So yeah, I think we're in a pretty good state right now. This is not needed. I'll delete that. Let's kind of pick up these resources as well. yeah, I think that's good for now. This I'm kind of not too worried about. Just kind of leave that there as is. Make sure these are all pumping away throughout the night. Cool. So yeah, let's wind on just a little bit more time. Let's get all of these kind of planted. And then we can detonate them and then get the forester to kind of plant all the trees.
More moments later.
Now that we have all of these planted, we can kind of detonate them. One thing that I would like to do is, because they are using these paths right now, I don't know how though, because they shouldn't be able to get there. Okay, so they're kind of coming across this way. What I'm going to do, I'll kind of get this. So this is all done now. We have a nice little runoff, so any issues with bad tides should all fall this way. I can actually detonate, well, I say detonate, I can actually destroy these now. These are no longer needed, so I can get rid of them like that. That just kind of makes all of this light, and this has been set up so it won't flow any more than that. Okay, so we now have an extra bit of kind of water on that side. This kind of takes care of the runoff of the bad tide. This here also should take care of it. Once that kind of fills up to the above the contamination, that'll kind of all just flow very nicely. Awesome. What I might have to do with this is I might just have to open it when the bad tide initially starts, but it should be okay. Right, let's start off detonating this side here, like that. Where you see these guys are all putting in, I kind of made some pathways here, so I'm just really concerned, just making sure I don't want to get them. Okay, let's do it in the middle so we can do it quick. And boom. All of that, plus all of the pathways there. That fills up very nicely. There is going to be a runoff for now, just until I can get this kind of dirt section built out. But it's looking pretty good, almost to the edge there. Hopefully this section will be enough to kind of get that kind of in the green. If not, we'll just have to run another kind of section down here. Maybe we look to do, let's have a look what's probably the best way to do it. Maybe just like let's have a look. Maybe we just do a runoff down the middle. First of all though, let's get some paths up. Like so. And how much does this cover? This covers just a little bit. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but we can do. So let's have a look and see if we can get this full area. Right, let's just put a temporary path right. This is a tricky one. I think I need some more dynamite here. Maybe do one more. We could actually just do it all the way along to maybe here. Yeah, that'll look good. Then what I can do is I'll build up some terrain blocks just to kind of square it off to about there. Then what I think, yeah, I think this section here should be our last little kind of fountain there. It does mean that I am going to have to destroy all of this, which is not ideal. It means I am going to have to build some kind of pathways to kind of get up there and get that destroyed. Right, how are we going to do this? Maybe like that, and up there. Yeah, we'll do it that way. And then we'll just use this here because it uses less logs. Since we are going to destroy that, I don't want to waste. And then can I get... Yeah, this is going to be... I'm going to have to do that on. I'm going to have to put one there. Then I'm going to have to put storages like that. Just so we can get dynamite. How much? So we need triples first. Need to mark this for demolition. And this. And then that needs... These now actually need to be 2s. Okay. So let's cancel you. And then... I know I've just built up a lot of this stuff, but at the same time it's kind of... Then I need, what, 3s here? 1, 2. This will also need to be 3. And then these will be 2s. Like so. And then I should be able to get to this, which once that I get that high priority, I'll actually make all of these high priority. Like so. And then that, I mean, that's fine just the way it is. I don't need to build that up. That can kind of just stay there like that. Cool. Nice. And that's looking decent. I don't want to build any more of these kind of pathways for now, so I'll just have to do like that. As well, what I can do is I can just plant trees. Just trying to think of the best way to do it. Maybe we put a wood here that actually covers everything. This, it wasn't really being used anyway, so I can get rid of that. Just making sure, do these cover everything? Yes, nice. Okay, so let's get lots of oak all the way here. Boom. Nice. So that's a huge section of that. Should really sort out the majority of our wood situation. Then we can get that watered here just to make sure we have enough. I'm thinking if we are kind of getting up here that we... No, that should be fine. Just leave it like that. Okay, we got some trees growing there. That's great. What else? All right. So I think we are good now. What's going on here? Why aren't we connected? Okay, yeah, that's because let's prioritize these real quick. I want to make sure we are getting them kind of built. We've actually cut off, you know, a full 1200 of our water supply, which is not great. Essentially, we were starting to kind of run a little low on well, I say run a little low. We got 1300, but we were kind of dropping in dirt. So I wanted just to kind of increase that, just to make sure we are getting 100% on the production. Okay. All right. How are we getting on with this? We're almost done with that. So once that's done, I'm trying to think like kind of so we can get rid of these once this is built. The problem is it's going to need access through this side here. So the only way that I can think of doing it is if we kind of block this section off here and make it run that way. But that will be a little difficult. I kind of just want to get this done here. I mean, we've got plenty of metal blocks. We are kind of constantly getting gears and planks now. This kind of additional kind of tree farm should do good. In terms of treated planks here, I mean, we're doing so well on this. We're already up to the next level, 54%. Really, with just the gears that we're waiting on. But look at that, it's already come together so nicely. It's going to be huge as well, because I think it's got like 2 more levels kind of to get to build on. And look at I still just can't believe this sheer amount of coverage. It's just the entire kind of area here, so that's awesome. Right, what else can we do? So we're in cycle 26. We can get this built. I mean, given that we are producing, you know, logs and planks relatively like consistent, it's just we can't build a surplus because we have so many things to build. I mean, they've even started the kind of dynamite on here, which one thing that I have slightly forgot to do, which I'm gonna have to build a stairwell here. Get rid of this path. Yeah, they can path 2 things once we get that up here, and then I can just run that like so, and then run that up there as well, just to make sure that we can get all of these kind of planted. Same with this, and yeah, these guys should just crush all of that so quickly. All right, so we'll kind of wind on just a little bit more time. I know this is kind of getting a bit repetitive on the kind of fast forward in time, but really, like, we are just kind of at the will of how fastly we can kind of grow and kind of chop down trees. And given that they do take 30 days, kind of in-game days, it's going to take some amount of time. So I'm kind of going to just, you know, fast forward just a little bit more, see what we get once we get the kind of these built, and then we can get all of these planted. We'll get all of this section all kind of like, you know, redone, the channels, everything. So we should be in a much better spot once we get kind of all of this done, and then we can kind of check in. I just want to kind of show you guys kind of like, this is going to be like obviously the last episode of the series, unless you guys want to see anything else that we can do. But once the, you know, Recultivator is built, that's pretty much all the buildings that we need kind of building. What I might do is I might just kind of, you know, when I end this episode for the series, like kind of once we have this all fully built out, what we can do is we can kind of check in when we get like kind of any updates from the game and stuff like that, any new features and stuff. Oh, what happened there? Oh, was that one of the robots? I think one of the robots just kind of died. Okay, so that's what happens with them. They just kind of literally just collapse. Cool. Anyway, right, let's fast forward a little bit of time, and I just want to kind of show you guys what this kind of does at the end, just to kind of wrap up the episode very nicely. And as you can see here, a little while later, we have a lot of progress. You see here, we've got a lot of dynamite placed. We kind of getting there with the Earth Recultivator, which I'll show you in a second. First off though, this kind of mountain range, I wasn't really a fan of it just kind of jutting out, so I did kind of like path up to it. I created a little bit more kind of, you know, kind of terraforming. I just, you know, just wasn't really a fan of it. So you can see here, very easily just built this overhang just so we can path directly up to that top layer, and then we can get these all dynamited. And as you can see, it does need one more layer to kind of go down. So what I'll do is I'll kind of demolish this kind of overhang first, you know, just to kind of get those like few resources back. You can see quite a lot of resources on there. And then what I can do is I can just kind of place down a little bit more dynamite just to make sure that we have the full section done. Next, we're going to go back to here. You can see a lot of dynamite has been placed. I did kind of expand it just a little bit more because I thought if we do continue this series and you guys want to see a bit more of this, we can kind of expand this area and kind of go just a little bit further out. You can see here already the greenery is starting to come through even at this kind of level. So I'm just gonna try and make sure that there's no beavers kind of there. Maybe I detonate that once this one clears. Oh, okay. Luckily we well, luckily we detonated it where it was, so it blocked off the path. Otherwise, we would have had a few more beavers dead there. Kind of slipped up here. I should have done this on kind of 3 deep, but when I was kind of looking at it, I was kind of messed up there. So what I'll do is I'll kind of get rid of these, kind of clean this up a little bit, and then I'll kind of path out a little bit more and kind of build like a little ravine as well. Okay, nice and cleaned up now. You can see I'll build up this kind of 3 deep kind of ravine area, and then I'll kind of path over the top of it with some platforms. Let's just get rid of this. That's kind of like blocked off now. We can't really use that. But you can see what will happen is that all that water will kind of run through there, and it'll kind of make the entire area nice and green. Okay, next you can see here we've started to kind of expand things a little bit. The mud bath, the carousels, we were kind of lacking in the well-being. So what I did is, because we had so many of these large warehouses, I kind of just built up and around using the kind of the metal platforms and stuff like that. I'm also going to add a couple of carousels in here somewhere. I'm just kind of trying to figure out the best place, just with the way we've kind of expanded the kind of the windmills, and then this little section maybe kind of can plug in a carousel, and then on these platforms as well, and kind of make sure that the power shafts can kind of extend over there. Also, we've kind of made some progress on this mine. This is pretty much all the scrap metal that we have. We actually do have a little bit here that I've been using robots for. Basically during the bad tide, robots are kind of immune to the bad water itself, so they can kind of continue to work during the bad tide. I didn't want to send in beavers and get them contaminated on that. But you can see we've used all of the scrap level, even the ones down here in this little section. So pretty much this is the last of the scrap metal. We have got 950 metal blocks, so we kind of are pretty solid on that, but you know, there are a few things that I want. Okay, so the big one, the Recultivator. You can see here we have almost 1900 gears now. So I'm going to fast forward real quick, and then we will take ourselves up to the finale of getting this completed. While I am kind of waiting on that, you can see here I did kind of dynamite this little section out just to kind of clear out some of the bad water. Once we got finished up, and you can see it's just evaporating there. This bad water rig is creating an enormous amount of kind of the bad water that we need. You can see here 2,500 bad water. That just really helps with us getting our extract. You can see here what I've actually had to do is create a second centrifuge to get more extract, because we're using it for detailing, you know, various kind of dynamite and stuff like that. We are getting a bit of a surplus now at 255. That's mainly just because we've stopped kind of using a lot of the dynamite. A lot of it got placed, so we have been kind of building up a little bit of resources on there. Another thing that I want to kind of point out is that, you know, we did start losing out on the pine resin, so I've just kind of expanded this little bit here, just to kind of make sure we can get, you know, enough kind of pine resin for like treated planks and stuff like that. Cool. All right. So we are at, like I say, at the finale now. We can just kind of speed up this, and we will get to seeing what happens once we've built this. Okay, and we're at 99%. This is taking quite a lot of time to construct once we have all the materials. But we are definitely getting there, just a little bit more. And there we go. The Earth Recultivator, all built and ready. So all we have to do now is kind of load up some resources, and then we can launch.
Much later.
And now that we have all of the materials needed, we can launch the Earth Recultivator. Here we go. Would you look at that? All the little kind of balloons, little lanterns. Look at that. Congratulations. Alright, so total we did 609 days. We had over 1,000 beavers born. We consumed 176,000 water. The tails painted 5,000. Cut 76,000 trees. 38 teeth broken. Bots manufactured 300. And we did 2,900 dynamite detonations. Okay, guys, so I appreciate you kind of watching this series throughout. It does mean a lot to me. If you do like the content, it would be great if you could subscribe. And I will catch you all in the next one.